My musical taste ranges from, oh my gosh, you need to listen to this, to I know, don't judge me. And I it's fine. Like one minute I'll be listening to like something corporate and then Disney will come on and it's fine.
Let it
But
go.
This is On Call.
Well, this would be really cool to just wear scrubs all the time. Then you don't have to think about what you're going to wear to work.
Joke is awesome. We're here to answer your questions. We can sit down and discuss them. Wait, I gotta go. I'm on call.
Wait, you're on call? I thought I was on call.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of On Call with April and Alicia. I'm April.
I'm Alicia.
and I'm Stephanie.
And we have a new guest. Yes. We're really excited to have Stephanie today, everybody. Stephanie Byrne is our Vice President of Operations for Sound Practice Solutions, which is a big mouthful, and she's going to tell you all about it later. But Stephanie, we're excited to have you in the call room. So welcome. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. Stephanie, we get this out of the way up front. Let's talk about the weather, okay? Here's what I'm going to tell you that I am excited about. April,
Yes.
no more cicadas. Cicadas are officially gone. Yes,
Nice.
they're gone.
I was just telling the girls the other day about how you are hating your cicadas.
But they fly in my mouth. And if we, again, not in real time, had not been on the phone when I was being full-on assaulted by them, then you wouldn't have believed it. But yeah, they are gonzo.
I'm not surprised that they would
No.
fly into your mouth.
They do.
When I lived in the South, they flew into my hair. Like that was my problem. Thank you.
In my mouth. Stephanie, I get attacked by animals. If you listen to a couple episodes, I've been just complaining about ducks laying eggs in my yard. But I thought it was a snake. I thought it was a snake nest. And then I did all this. I mean, I could have gotten a degree on how to tell you whether it's a reptilian egg or a duck egg. But yeah, I don't do the outside world very well. As I always tell April, my joke is when I camp, that just means I open my windows at night. So yeah, not that adventurous when it comes to having interactions with things that fly around clumsily into your face, into your mouth. They do fly into my hair too, Steph, but I feel like every time I go out, it was expletives. Every time I was like, get the, bleep, 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 every time I was saying something because they hated me, but they're gone
I love
now.
that journey for you.
I don't know that that's personal against you. I think they just, in general, fly like idiots. But
They do. They're like stink bugs, but 3 times the size. The moles are back. I already told you that too. So that's my update. But I will tell you, I'm going to Mexico just over the weekend, just a little kind of getaway. Guess what's going on in Mexico?
a hurricane.
Yep. Flossy. Now,
Are you going to still go?
Yeah, it's off land, but the marina that we normally stay at is calm. You can go in there, you can see the fish, you can snorkel, you can do all the stuff. You can't swim in the Pacific waters there, but the marina area, which is the Sea of Cortez, you can. But they showed these videos today. It's like Stephanie's a Pacific girl right now, not at heart, but she's a transplant. But Stephanie, those Pacific waves,
Yeah.
that was what was coming into the Sea of Cortez. These huge rolling waves. I was so excited. So excited.
You're the only person excited about that. By the way.
I wasn't going in the water. I just think nature is so
Didn't you
amazing.
tell me once you've never been in a hurricane and you've wanted to see one?
Yes.
Now you have your shot.
See,
It's just a lot of wind and rain. Wind and rain.
I just want to see it. But I don't want to belittle the impact it has on people. It wrecks people's lives. I'm not making light of that. I just think nature is fascinating, and hurricanes to me are fascinating. Same with tornadoes. I'd love to see a tornado. I told one of our
nope for me.
I know. Well, I told one of our people on a call last week. I was like, "Oh, you're in the plains." I was like, "You're in Tornado Alley," and I had this whole one-off conversation. I think she thought I was like, "Somebody check her in."
She probably hung up and was like, that woman is crazy.
Yeah, I was like, I know it's scary, and I'm sure it's scary for you. I was as I was, Weather Channel fangirling her. She was like, "Yeah, we don't think it's cool." And I was like, okay, well, moving on. So back to our topic at hand. I just think it was fun. So cicadas are gone. I get to see a hurricane. My life's wrapped up in a bow right now. How are you, Pete? How are you doing, AP?
That's good. I'm good.
Family's good?
Family's good.
Kids are finally out of school. Stephanie, her kids don't get out of school till like practically the end of the summer.
Whoa.
But they go to school. They start later. So they have all of July, August, and half of June. So
yeah, that's like the old days of schooling. Okay. I really think that's all I have. Stephanie, how are you? What's going on? Tell us where you are, first of all. Stephanie is in...
I am in Tacoma, Seattle, Tacoma area. I'm kind of in a suburb of both. East of
For
Tacoma,
those of us that are terrible at geography,
Seattle is Washington State, all the way to the corner of the United States. There are a lot of days where I wonder why I'm here. I am a sunshine coastal girl who found herself in the Pac North. And
every time I've gone to Seattle, it just rained the whole time.
Yeah,
it was awful.
Beautiful. It's such a so I'm like the toxic relationship that is Washington State and the Pac North. The sun comes out and everybody goes bananas, and it's like right about like within the last, I would say, 2 weeks that we've had like quote unquote summer, and it'll probably last for maybe another 3 or 4 weeks before it starts to like cool down. But like it's this joke that everyone says, like if the like party like the mountains out, or like celebrate like the mountains out. Like a volcano, if you can see it, it's a good day, and everybody loses their minds. Everyone's out in like shorts and trying to soak up the sun, and I'm like, it's still like only 60 degrees, people, and I'm like, what is happening? Like right now, like I walked outside today thinking like to walk my dogs, and I'm like, oh, it should be nice. And I was wearing a t-shirt. Then I got like, I don't know, half a block away from my home with my puppies, and I'm like, oh no, it's only like 55 degrees. I love this for me. Why didn't I wear a jacket?
Yeah.
And it's July. So how very dare Washington State?
Yep.
And the most important piece is you don't have air conditioning.
No, we don't have air conditioning. So when it does get warm, we complain about it. So it's like, we're just not happy.
Yeah, that was like, I grew up in like New York State, like Western New York State. And same thing, summers, it would be like 60s or 70s. We didn't need air conditioning. I mean, there were some days that were hot, but we didn't need it.
It's really bizarre. It's like the days are so short in the winter, but then in the summer, I think the sun starts to rise at like, I don't know, like 4 a.m. and it doesn't set until like
11.
So like I'm walking around like 11 o'clock and still kind of like civil twilight, and I'm like, cool, this is weird.
That's kind of like Alaska, you know?
It is. Well, because they're right next door. It's just It is. So yeah, so you have like our faux summer, and everyone, and I'm just like, oh, this is such a beautiful place. All the hiking's beautiful. All the trees are beautiful. Beautiful, beauty, beauty, beauty. And then the rain comes back and the gray comes back, and I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. The 2 times I went, I was only there 48 hours, like for work, right? So I got in and out, but it rained every second, both times I was there.
Yeah. And it's not just like a rain that I'm used to in like Virginia or any other states that I lived in. It's just mist. It's just you're in a cloud, really, is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what? I was a kid. My mom used to say, check this out. You both will be surprised because you both know me personally. My mom would say, you're not really social. Shocking. But so she would teach us to ask questions. And she'd say, if you ask questions, you can engage people in conversations. And my thought was always, well, I don't really care. I don't want to ask questions but the one thing I could always talk about was weather. And I have found out, we're a couple minutes in now, you could talk weather forever and forget we're on a medical podcast, or you can talk weather and work. People will always talk about the weather. Always. Mm-hmm. It really is not a bad icebreaker.
It's not. It's like this. It is the quintessential small talk.
When
in doubt, mention that there's a beautiful site. Talk about, when in doubt, talk about it.
So now you know if somebody's talking about the weather, they don't know what to say to you. There's a cheat code. Just kidding. But speaking of icebreaker,
that means that you don't know what to say on every podcast we record, right. Alicia.
Exactly. I'm just filling space and improving. My performing arts background is helping a lot right now. But speaking of ice breaking and whatever, Stephanie, I know you've followed the podcast, been a friend of the podcast. Having you on here has been really great. We always start this episode before we give you an opportunity to tell us your story, whether that's your sound story, etc. We just like to kind of cut the tension, which there's no end of that, but we just loosen up a little bit with a little exercise that let's break the ice. It's just a 2-round. April and I are going to ask you a couple questions. Whatever comes to the top of your mind first is what you answer. And how you answer. Fair?
Fair.
All righty. April, as per usual, should ask you something about food. Go ahead,
I'm not
April.
going to today.
Oh, wow.
It could end up being
shocked.
food, though. But it's not, it's not specifically a food question. All right. My first question, Stephanie, is what is your guilty pleasure? Like, what is it that you're like, you're stressed out and you're like, I just need to, whatever, eat something, veg on the couch. What is your thing?
Running, I guess.
Running?
If I'm stressed out, I'm like, I need to go for a run. And I'll just drop everything and go run. I don't know if that's a guilty pleasure. Or just doing something adventurous. Like I'll just start to feel a bit like anxious in my own bubble and need to go do something loud or
gotta get it out.
Get it out. I gotta go do something, either hike a mountain or run around, or just you start to feel that energy, and I've got to put it somewhere.
Like a mountain, just in case. April.
Okay. There's lots of mountains here. So.
She probably goes right outside her door, and there's a mountain. Yeah.
And Stephanie, welcome, because you're gonna get it. but yeah, it's like let's just go hike a mountain. Let's just go or run.
Or fly planes.
April's like veg. Watch TV, eat something.
She's like, I'm going to go run.
Adventurous and healthy, and we're supposed to be the healthcare providers. That makes no sense.
My answer totally would have been like, I turn on a chick flick and sit on my couch and do nothing.
Yeah, mine would have been some true crime podcast that is like miserable, wonderful.
I mean, the winter, I'm probably more inclined. No, I take that back because I'll just go snowboarding. I don't know.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say something else, but we actually we'll get to that because. Okay, my question for you. Okay. If your personality had a theme song, what would it be and why?
Okay. Queen, Don't Stop Me Now, I think.
What is it?
Queen, Queen. Don't Stop. Yeah.
Oh my, Don't Stop. Wait.
Yeah.
How's that go? Sing it.
Oh,
I'm not singing on a podcast.
You're not singing Don't Stop Believing. That's Journey, right?
No.
That's Journey.
Okay. I don't know the Queen one, but guess what's going to happen when this podcast, magically, this song is going to end up.
Right here.
Podcast.
And you're doing it, so you don't even have to sing it. But
I'm not going to
Don't
sing
Stop.
it on
Okay, tell us why Don't Stop.
I'm trying to think. You guys kind of put me on the spot. So it's a Queen song. So it's like upbeat and eclectic as that band is. And then the lyrics itself, like I love music. I love all music. And
you have a huge catalog of music.
Yeah. My musical taste ranges from, oh my gosh, you need to listen to this, to I know, don't judge me. And it's fine. Like one minute I'll be listening to like something corporate, and then Disney will come on, and it's fine.
Let it go.
More like Powerline from Goofy Movie is more of my favorite. But so Don't Stop Me Now.
I found a deep cut in my Spotify from Rockadoodle, and I don't know if you guys remember Rockadoodle, but it was the whole thing about the owls that didn't want the rooster to crow, right? Because they hated the sun, and the whole thing growing up, and it was one of those off Disney movies. It was never like a Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin, But I had the whole soundtrack to that. And I think my mom only let us listen to musicals growing up because I don't have any other memory till probably high school of any other genre outside of classical music with piano. But yeah, Rockadoodle, it still came up in my Spotify and I will bop out to it right now if it came on. It's my favorite.
I don't think I've ever heard of that Disney movie. Anyways, go ahead, Stephanie.
Don't worry, I'll send it to you.
So
Not
Don't
the movie,
Stop
just the
Me
music.
Now.
Yes.
If you go through like the lyrics, other than the fact that it's just like high energy, which I am, it's like, don't stop me now. Like, here I come and I'm having a good time. And then it's like, I'm a rocket ship, like on my way to Mars on a collision course, like really don't stop me. And it just is I kind of had an interesting youth. And so at a certain point, I was able just to say, all right, that don't stop me now. Having grown up, my little story is I grew up in a hospital. I was a really sick kid. And when I finally got that like clearance to say now, hey, you can follow up, once a year instead of maybe every month. It was just this like permission to live out loud. And so that song it just kind of feels like it would define if there was a soundtrack or backtrack for my life, that would be one of them.
I love that.
Awesome.
I love that. All right. Unpeeling the layers already. Let's go.
Well, my next question, I didn't know that we were going to talk about music, but I was going to ask you, what if you could go to any concert that you wanted, like what would be your top choice to go to? What musician?
Oh gosh, all of them. I think I'd really actually like to see Michael Bublé. I think he would put on a fun show. Or like Britney Spears, maybe like, I don't know,
pre-head
15 years ago. No, post-head shave was still okay, but like there's just the pre-dancing around with knives in her hand. There's a part of Britney that I think I would have liked to see.
That's funny. I was just talking to a friend yesterday who said they're a big fan of Britney
right now.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing to watch. Britney doing the same hip pivot.
Circling around.
Bless her heart.
Or you know what? Like if I could like transplant myself back to like early 2000s Warped Tour, that would be a great moment.
Hilarious.
All right.
You know what? I almost did a question based off of transporting you back to your youth, but I've pivoted last minute.
Okay.
So I'm not going to ask you that one because that would actually be a great follow-up, but I really want to know this one. What is a small decision you made that unexpectedly changed the course of your life?
Switching my major in undergrad. Yeah.
What'd you switch?
I went from your typical bio major with a pre-med focus. I was in the honors program. My undergrad had like a honors program with the med school that if you checked all the boxes and did all the things, you'd have a seat in their medical school. And junior year, broke everybody's heart and said, I'm going to study English and I'm moving to England. And I'm going to do creative writing and an Italian minor. And I'm going to travel and I'm going to University of London and I'm going to go where Shakespeare went and Chaucer and Austen, and this makes no sense. And what are you going to do with an English degree, Stephanie? And I'm like, I'm also going to go eventually get a master's and still work in healthcare. And my family was just like, that's a hard, weird pivot. But you do you. And here I am.
There is no like two roads diverged in the yellow wood there. It's like there was just a hard detour in this story.
What were you saying, April?
I said, I don't know that that's a small decision. That seems like a big one.
But I think at the moment it does probably feel small, you know, like at that age, if you, I was a pianist. I was supposed to go to Juilliard and decided I'm just going to go University of Cincinnati and I don't know what I'm going to do. And it felt small to me at the moment because it felt like a lot at 18 to be like, what am I going to do forever? I didn't even know what I was going to do tomorrow. And I still feel that way as an adult. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow.
I think some of the most interesting people that I've met don't or like, I don't know. And it's the
Yep.
open-minded part, I think, that is important. And to your point, it didn't seem like a big decision at the time. It just seemed right. It didn't seem like I didn't have to put a lot of thought into it. It was just like my gut said do this, so I said okay, and followed what the instinct was telling me to do. And I have no
I love it.
regrets for it, but it definitely a small little I should do this thing turned into a bigger, broader thing,
Yeah.
in the moment and further down the line.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to
Absolutely.
you for doing that, because I think a lot of people get that like small intuition and don't listen to it and kind of mull over it or don't follow it. So
Or we live
that's
for other
awesome that you
people.
did. Yeah.
We live for appearance, and we live for what we like, with the image of what looks like a good job, what would make people proud of me, what would make me look. I want you to do what your heart's calling you to do, like what do you feel your calling is. That doesn't make it easy. It just means that maybe you're a little bit more aligned. So I like that. I just wanted to say, first of all, everybody, Stephanie Byrne, I am really excited to have her on today. I know April's excited as well. Stephanie and I have known each other for years. We've worked, I'd say, like laterally. When me working with ambassadors, she was a regional operator, and we had the best fortune to have Stephanie come into our space, in our ambassador space within Sound, to become a leader for our team. And I've learned a lot in a very short amount of time working with her. She just started this year. I've learned a lot about leadership. I've learned a lot about how to be a leader. I've learned about how to be led. And I was, kind of pushing on April a little bit. Like I'd like to do a podcast topic about leading. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the medical space, but for purposes of this one, it will be. Stephanie just has such a wealth of experience. She's been everywhere. And my funny thing for her is always, like, I call her the Dos Equis woman, because there's never been a call that I've been on with her that she's not gone, oh, yeah, I did that. I mean, like, you could say something like really random, like, oh, I was scuba diving in the middle of this ocean, blah, blah, blah. And she go, oh, like, did you go here? And you're like, wait, what? How did you even know where that place was? Like, the girl's been everywhere, but she's brought all of her experiences and brought them into our teams. And I've just watched how I've changed again as a leader, how I've been able to lead my teams a little bit differently, how I've changed as a person, as a colleague, just the way I approach work. So I'm really excited to have you here, Stephanie. And I just let's start this way. Why don't you tell us a little of your story? We always give everybody an opportunity to do this. It can be your Sound story. It can be your personal story. How did you get to where you are right now?
Well, thank you for quite an intro. Yeah, so I hinted at it earlier. I'll give my story, my personal story. I don't mind sharing it. It's kind of my legacy of why I'm here now and why I made that small but big decision back in college. I was a really sick kid. Grew up in and out of hospitals from infancy and through. With a congenital liver disease and a bunch of other things that could have gone wrong, 10 surgeries and a whole lot of question marks, and amazing medical teams later. At 22 years old, my team of doctors looked at me and said, all right, well, you are stable-ish. And I was like, well, what does that mean? They're like, well, see,
that's not rewarding.
Well, because I mean, with what I have, it's always going to be a ... They're not clutch. And most kids that have my liver disease ended up on. I mean, I was on a transplant list, and then had a life-saving surgery at 8 weeks old that kind of worked. It was supposed to be a Hail Mary to buy some time, and then it just stuck. And so doctors now are kind of like, you're weird. And yes, I am. So 22 years old, after living in a bubble, like I very intentionally picked a college that was attached to the medical center, that like the health system that I was getting all of my treatment through. I didn't really stray too far from home because of that ticking time bomb, the what if, and am I going to end up back in the hospital again? At least I can find a way to have college experience in an environment that I felt safe within. So when you have that type of life, and then now you're told, well, you can go live it out loud. Boy, did I live it out loud. Did that hard pivot it seemed right, and off I went. And just over the last 18 years of my life, started to try everything and see everything. But there's been this underlying theme that always pulled me back to having grown up as one of the kids of congenital disease, and knowing very acutely how we treat patients and families, and sometimes forget that 100% of who we see, they don't want to be here. Like, our client is our patient, and they don't want to be here. And I think sometimes we get lost in diagnose, treat, figure out what's wrong, and forget that we're still people taking care of people who are hurting and scared, and their families are hurting and scared. And so to that little girl sitting in a hospital bed, somewhat angry and somewhat nervous and scared, like, I had something to say. And so I wanted to find a way. I knew I always wanted to work in healthcare. I knew I wanted to be an advocate, not just for the patients and their families, but also for our clinicians, our physicians, our APPs, our nurses, everyone that touches. Do it in a way that we don't forget we still have patients we're taking care of. Yeah, it's a business. Yeah, it's messy, it's complex, and it's complicated. But if you get it right, you can still at least make it a little less crappy to be in a bed. That is where and how and why I got here. And I still live a bold, loud life, intentionally to stay outside a bubble and learn as much as I can about the world and myself, and how I can bring that back to what we're doing in the healthcare landscape. So that's my story.
Well, that makes sense why you want to climb mountains, and you have the option to like sit on a couch. And that was kind of funny, cheeky, but at the same time serious. That for somebody it sounds like bedbound. A lot through childhood, that it's like, I need to get outside even if it's 60 and I don't have a jacket. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes a lot of sense about you.
Yeah, puzzles and word searches and crossword puzzles were my companions. Books, and there's only so many books you can read. And so entertaining yourself from a very small radius, and then being said, all right, well, we'll see you in a year. Like, cool, that's 365 days that I can be doing something. And so there's not much I won't do. Which is probably freaks out my medical team. They're probably like, seriously? We worked so hard, and now you're going to go and what? Scuba dive? What's wrong with you?
Well, let me just say, the funniest thing about you, when Apple got to a point where we were doing updates, and it was like you could select the photo that's going to show up on somebody else's phone when you call. I will never forget. I don't know if you remember this call, Stephanie. It was like sometime last year. You called and I went, wait, all I'm seeing is a bunch of underwater stuff. And you're like, you are? And you were kind of confused. Like, how did you see that photo? And I was like, I don't know. When you called, it was just said Stephanie Byrne, and here's this stuff. And I was like, what is this? Do you scuba dive? And you're like, yes. And I was terrified. Immediately, I was like, why? Like, why are you?
Because I can.
And then I learned, I was like, oh, that's nothing compared to what this girl's done. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. But thank you for that story.
All right, Stephanie, we're going to put you on the hot seat now again. So getting to the leadership topic, what are some leadership traits that you believe are non-negotiable in medicine?
Yeah, that advocacy part is a non-negotiable for me. I think we all, at some point, have experienced really frustrated moments. And I always make it a point to understand that they're like, what is the root of it? In leadership, that's our duty, to figure out the root cause of why something's difficult and not internalize it. And so I think my biggest non-negotiable is to always remind ourselves in every decision we make, who is this serving? Is this the best thing for our patients? Is this the best thing for our clinical team? And if there's any question or doubt to that, then let's sit down and brainstorm how we can still make A to B happen without losing the in between.
Yeah.
Sometimes being in business we just are like, oh, we have to meet this budget, we have to do this thing. Yes, we do, but we can still find our way and negotiate within the constructs of all the things that are in operations and business operations, that still we don't lose track of why we're even here in the first place.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. And I think too, like as we, as leaders, we make decisions that impact our teams, right? And so then I think if we have a good why behind what we did, right, and we made the right decision for that team, then I think it is easier for them to understand and adopt that decision. Yeah. So,
and I think even like taking that like to the next level is saying, our teams, yes. Our organization, yes. Who's our end user? And that person is the patient. Like right? This is what we're building all this around. So bringing it back to the patient is really important. What happens, Stephanie, when you come into some conflict around that? Like we know your end user, we've identified, right? The end user is the patient. But what happens when we get into resistance or conflict within a team while trying to get into that space? How do you manage that?
I lean into it. I'm very much, I don't avoid the conflict. I kind of step right into the center of it and say, all right, let's talk, let's figure this out, and give the team voice. I don't like to make decisions in a vacuum. Often you'll hear me say within a team environment, if you make me decide, you might not like the outcome. So let's sit down and hash it out. The good, the bad, the ugly, within some boundaries of being kind. But I'd rather hear all of the noise so we can pick a path through it together. When you just either ignore the conflict or try to talk at the conflict, it often just makes it worse. And yeah, for me, it's let's go. Let's talk about it. Let's lean in.
Yeah. Well, there's also
do you wonder if like conflict feels like failure? Do
what?
I was just wondering if maybe the people's avoidance of conflict, as a person who I don't know if I avoid conflict. I'd have to evaluate myself. But in the moment, it makes me think, does conflict equal failure for a team member? Where they're like, okay, I don't agree with Stephanie right now. So, but also Stephanie's my boss, so I don't want to argue with her. But she's telling me, let's keep talking about it. You know what I mean?
Conflict is uncomfortable but necessary. And I think and that's a kind of a good like segue when we're talking leadership. And as a leader, you want to create that space where conflict can be safe to navigate, to explore, and so if you have an employee or a team member or a colleague that's afraid to come to you with conflict, then that for me is like, all right, what am I doing that's not creating a safe space for them to feel vulnerable? Because it's at the end of the day, conflict and vulnerability go hand in hand. And so Agreed. It's just, conflict is just icky. No one likes it. But I still think it's necessary because you can't, conflict is also synonymous with growth.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things. Sorry, AP, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. No.
I was just going to say, it's one of those things too, like as a parent where you say to your kids, well, this is something recent for me where I was like, I want my kids to see me like, a 360 Alicia. I want them to see Alicia happy. I want them to see Alicia when she's sad. I want them to see Alicia when she's angry. I want them to see all parts of me, but I also want them to see me tomorrow. And that they can know, like, whatever it was, the more challenging parts of, like, mom got back. And I wonder sometimes when we to say the word conflict, and I really didn't anticipate I get stuck on this topic, but that it's so important as a leader to give your team permission to have conflict. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Maybe it's more of permission instead of feeling like you have to internalize it. And I say that and make that analogy as a parent, because that feels like conflict to me. It feels like I don't want my child to see me. I don't want them to see me weak. I want them to see me making decisions. I want them to see me executing. I want them to see me safe. I want them to see me not struggle. I want them to see me all these things. But these are the same things I take into my practice at work. And but maybe my team at work needs to see me struggle, or we need to be in conflict together to sort through some things, but also know that tomorrow we all show up. We're still there, that you're not getting fired because you disagree. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, it's just a subtle strength in being vulnerable and transparent within it. I think it just allows everybody else to feel comfortable in their own truth. And in that you can have some magic, because now it's not just I am leader, hear my roar. It's, leading from within. So there's you could stand at the front of the line and drag everybody along in the sake of leadership and look how formidable I am. But how many people are actually going to follow you, versus sitting in the middle and saying, how are we going to move this forward? And let's go. And in sitting in the middle of that sometimes means having to be very uncomfortable, very vulnerable, and allow others to experience that with you. That to me is, the difference between either managing yourself through something versus leading yourself and others into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think too, from a leadership perspective, it's okay to sit down with your team and say, listen, we've got this going on and I'm not sure what the best solution is. So let's talk through our options and figure this out together. I think it is.
Yeah.
I think you're more respected as a leader, when you do that, and you can be humble with your team and say, hey, look, I don't know what's the right answer is either. So let's talk about it. So,
yeah.
That's why we have teams, right? We all have a different role. We all bring a different perspective. And so sometimes that conflict of respectfully challenging each other is important. So,
oh, for sure. You can't do it alone. Then why would you have a team? Right. And it is, I've had a lot of, leaders that I've watched that I wouldn't want to follow, and leaders that I'm just let me emulate everything this person is. And the ones that that I'm inspired by are the same people that sat down and said, this sucks and I don't know what we're going to do here. So let's start to brainstorm. And we all grew together through it. And that is so important. I look at other leaders that I've been inspired by and been able to work with. And I'm like, wow, they inspired us because they dared to be bold enough to say, I don't know. But we're going to figure this out.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think, to Alicia's point about, conflict and failure, I think that the strategy is similar there, where you're, there's a failure as a team and you're a setback and you gotta kind of come together and figure it out together. But so as you build those teams, you guys, typically teams will get very close knit, which, our Sound, I sort of think of them as family rather than coworkers, a lot of people at Sound. So as you're bringing in new team members to that, how do you, kind of get them into that group and get them into the culture and into that tight knit team?
Yeah. It's also how it starts with how you select. And so I'm very intentional with getting buy-in from my team that they're part of the process. I try to find the top candidates, and then of my top candidates, I want to make sure I have a top 3 that I would be happy with either 3. And I'm going to let the team decide which one they think is going to be the best fit for their team at that point. And so when you were able to do that, they've got that, they are then excited because they got to make the choice. They are like, oh, this person's going to be our puzzle piece. And sometimes I can be surprised where I think I'll in my mind rank. I'm all right, my first, second, and third, but they're all great. I'll be happy with all 3. And they pick the second candidate or the third candidate. And I'm like, man, I was off. And that's also a humbling moment, or a little mirror reflected back that I don't know everything, and that's fine. I don't want to know everything. And I want my team to have that opportunity to be part of the decision making. That helps that employee that does come on board, that does get selected, from feeling like like outsider to an environment. It's how you can avoid some cliquey environments. And I also, within that, if I start feeling like my team's getting a little cliquey, I'm also unafraid to say, hey team, we sound like a little, I feel like we're in Mean Girls. Let's calm it down a little bit. Let's tone it down. Let's see what's going on here. Like, I love the synergy and I love the pride within our team, but we don't want to just, alienate ourselves from everybody else because we're that tight knit. Like, please be open for others.
Yeah.
Well,
I think too, it's important.
Like that sense of belonging.
Yeah, and too, the team, I think, also is important. Like you said, they feel like they have a say, right? Like they feel like they get to contribute to decisions, and so I think that's important to include them as well. Like we do that with all of our clinicians at Sound. We bring them into the team and have lunch with the team and let them get to meet each other and use, have the team help to decide who's going to join that team, right? So
yeah,
I kind of wanted to pivot.
It models such a good. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Steffi. No, go ahead.
Pivot away, or we'll just get stuck on the topic.
Finish your thought, please.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I think Sound just models a really good, like, roadmap for how we bring people on to our bus, and with the way that we bring our physicians in for interviews, or APPs in for interviews, and I think we try to model that within operations as well. So I drank the Sound Kool-Aid. I'm like, we do everything so great. And not always, man. Like, we are stitched together by that didn't go as I thought it would. And sometimes I need the jaws of life to remove the foot from my mouth. But, that also is just the beauty of the experience in healthcare and leadership.
Yeah.
I think, like, I wanted to go into a question around like how you integrate new team members, but I think we've already talked about that, outlined that. I think what's unique to our relationship is we kind of integrated you into our team. We were an established team, and you came in as an outsider to some degree. You weren't unfamiliar to us, but you were new to the team. And there was something that you did introduce when you sat down and you did what I think all leaders should do. Everyone pull out your pencils and paper. Just pay attention for 30 some odd days first before you start making change. So I've got so much respect that even you and Rob coming in at the same time, around the same time, but didn't just come in like, I know exactly what I'm going to change immediately before getting to know all of us. You sat down, you studied all of us. And then one day you're like, hey, I want you to take this test. And I was like, but I like Enneagram. So we're talking about the disc, but immediately I go, but I'm an Enneagrammer. So you take an Enneagram test, which you were willing to do before I was willing to do a disc assessment. But I'm curious to you coming into our team. Cheezel, I think you could teach a whole class on disc. What about disc assessment changed how you lead? What made you think of that in that moment? What made you think I need to understand her a little bit more?
Yeah, because I think like all the different personality tests that you can take are great. It's not like an exact science either. It's just, it is a journey in self-awareness. And sometimes I joke, I'm so self-aware, I have imposter syndrome. But when I look at a room and I see where everybody...
Yes.
Who am I? What am I?
That's right.
It helps me understand what makes people tick and how I can show up for them. I subscribe to this philosophy that it is my duty for my team, for my organization, to show up for them, not for them to show up for me because I'm a leader. That to me doesn't work. I've seen it in other organizations where it's like, no, you answer to me and you do it the way I expect you to. And everyone's also then left in the dark or left having to like guess like how do I show up for this person? I believe in the reverse. what of this wonderful group of people that I get the opportunity to work alongside makes them tick? What do they need from me? I'm not here to do their jobs. They have the job.
Right.
How can I help elevate and expand what they're already doing and make their lives that much more profoundly, I guess, awesome? Like, people leave jobs usually because of other people. And so I want to make sure that I am that present body. And in doing that, taking things like the Enneagram or Myers-Briggs or DISC allows me to know what I need and how I can also show up for that person. And what the DISC does is it kind of breaks it down just into like just smaller bites. You know, Myers-Briggs is expansive. There's 17 different personality types within it. And you've got how many with Enneagram? Like 8, 9. I don't remember how many, but
yeah, there's 9 Enneagrams.
Yeah, 4 like nothing, like 4 like bullet points to think about. And it's oversimplifying something probably that we know is more complex, but at the same time, it just allows you to say, okay, this is the hyper analyst, this is the people pleaser. I'm going to need to give some space to somebody because I am a big old personality. I'm an ID, so I'm going to cheer us along as we get it done, and that's going to overwhelm some of my other team members that are wanting the S. They wanted the C's. They want a roadmap, or they want to just digest it for a minute. I will sometimes. I've learned to exist in silence and give other people time to breathe before responding. It's really funny. I've worked in a team of I's where there was no silence because we had all something to say, and we had one poor S within the I's. And like, guys,
and the I's like innovation, right? What's the I?
Yeah, and it's like the I should probably pull it up because I don't have it memorized, but yeah, it's the innovators, the dreamers, the builders. D is like, they say it's like more dominant. I don't like that word. I think they're just more direct, and
yeah, I is influence. Yeah, I is influence, and then you have steadiness, and then you have conscientiousness, and then the other D is the dominance. But yeah, I think too, just not even
liking the word, because I do think it, especially as it pertains to women, I don't love it that it's like dominant. It's like it sounds, it's got a negative connotation to me, but I'm like, no, it's somebody that can make a decision because I've overthought it for 16
I've reframed
hours.
it in my mind as decisiveness.
Yes.
To make me feel better about it. But yeah, so I also like, I look at DISC as the love language of the professional world. And so I can then, within minutes, I can log in. And I love that sound has the ability that we can just log in and map ourselves against another team member, so that I'm not showing up to the table expecting somebody to show up for me. I'm there to see, all right, what's going to make Alicia freak out so I don't do that to her, because that's how you don't get high level performing team members. If you're showing up for them in a way that shuts them down, that's not going to work. So it allows me to understand somebody and then be what they need, so that at the end of the day, we can get done what we need to get done.
Yeah, I think that I love that. And I think it makes sense, but also I think it helps the team. Like, I remember Alicia and I were on a team together with the APP leaders, and we did the Enneagram at the time, but it was helpful for me to understand the other team members, because we would always be on calls and we would get asked a question, and Alicia would like never say anything, and then I would like have something to say, and I always felt like I was like stepping on her toes or being too aggressive, until we took the test, and I was like, oh, that's who she is. So like, it's okay that I go first because I have something to say, and then it gives her time to think. So I think that's very helpful too in terms of just workflow among your team. So
it's funny, April, as I told Stephanie that story, and I said, our previous boss would say, you're not even paying attention. It's like you say nothing, you don't contribute. And it wasn't that harsh, but it was like, you don't seem engaged. Like, do you even like what you're doing? And I'm like, I'm thinking. And my stare off was like, I don't want to speak because I need more information right now. But it was the first time, I think, when we did that Enneagram as a team, that I was like, I felt seen for one moment. Like, okay, see, no, I am here. I just don't, I can't make it. I can make a decision, but then I have anxiety around a decision I made because I made it too fast, because I didn't feel like I had all the information. So, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny you brought that up. That's a blast from the past.
I remember it. I mean, it definitely helped us, I think, as a team. So,
absolutely.
Well, Stephanie, this has been a great conversation. So let's wrap it up with one more question.
Okay.
And I'll ask you, what's something, like, thinking back as your journey as a leader, what's something about leadership that nobody warns you about?
Ooh. That you're going to cry at nighttime? Sorry. Too soon?
Yeah, I mean, leaders cry, right? Gosh, man, like, and people are so, I don't know. That is a reality. I think we look to leaders as the people that have it all under control. And, and there's those moments where I look around, I'm like, who's the adult in the room? Oh, it's me. I need an adult, or you're adult. And they don't, no one's going to, like, Judy Blume's not going to teach you that. Like, courses aren't going to teach you that. Like, nothing that I've read ever really prepared me for, like, that. There's that control piece of, like, they've got it together. They're the person that we're going to look to for them to have it under control. But it's really not about control. It's just about carrying the responsibility. Yeah. And sometimes that means making, like, the right decision, even if it's unpopular, and doing it in a soft way. Like, hey guys, I know we're not going to like this, but we have no choice. And I'll get a win for us another time, but we've got to lean in and go this direction. And sharing that, like, guys, I tried, is, that I'm now carrying a responsibility for my team to get it right the next time, or be able to do right by them the next time if I have to do an unpopular decision. And it's sometimes not always about being liked. Yeah. And it's about being trusted. I mean, I think that's the biggest part, is, like, I go into it knowing I'm not going to have a lot of friends in this, but I am going to work really hard to have their trust. And so you have to build that muscle through time. And that's not anything that could be taught. Like, I always say there's a difference between managers and leaders. A manager, you can learn to manage. You can learn to, like, task manage. You can learn to, like, get through the thing. Leaders rise to the occasion. You're not just born with it. Like, sometimes there are naturally born leaders. They just have it. But I think every single one of us can rise to the occasion to be a leader, by being transparent, open, honest, comfortable, being uncomfortable, and just leaning into all the good, the bad, the ugly, and hearing and from all that noise, and working together to build a path. That's where leadership lives. It's not about just, like, cracking a whip and making all the choices or making all the decisions. It really is just this, like, little secret sauce, little special place within a group of people, and grabbing everybody's hand and say, all right, let's go.
It's like an art, it's an art form. Yeah, I would agree. This is so, I, like, looked at the clock and I was like, holy moly.
We did talk about weather.
I was like, we always talk about weather long, but I was like, we've got a cajillion more questions we want to ask, but I think this actually is probably we won't call it part one, but it won't be the last time that you show up on the podcast, because there's so much more that I want to ask, and I know so much more April wants to ask, but in the interest of time, let's drop it here. For anybody that is listening that has further questions, obviously you know where to find us. You can reach out to us on our email at oncallpodcast@soundphysicians.com. You can also follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn, where we are set up at On Call with April and Alicia. And anywhere that you find your podcast, you can find us. And please find us. Follow us. Follow the show. We'd love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts about other shows. If you have questions for Stephanie, feedback for Stephanie, I'm sure she'd love to hear that too. We'll be happy to share that with her. So, Stephanie, again, thank you for joining the show. This was really, really great. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stephanie. It was great talk with you. And to our listeners, until next time, you guys stay well and we'll stay on call. Bye, everyone.
Have a great week.
Bye.